drag is not life or death. Bitch!
Oh, fuck.
Something very bad is going on.
Manhattan is under siege.
What the hell?
Shelter in place?
Tonight in movie reviews, we're talking Tina Romero's Queens of the Dead. Stay tuned. Everybody, welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new movie review. Tonight we got a special treat for you because we are taking a look at a Legacy's first film. Tonight we are talking Tina Romero's Queens of the Dead. Now, if you recognize that last name, well, that is because Tina Romero is the daughter of the father, the godfather, the god of the zombie genre, George A. Romero, the man that has brought us such classics including Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and so much more. How does his daughter Tina's first film in the zombie genre stack up here? I'm excited to break all that down with you here tonight. I got a chance to check this one out in theaters recently at Alamo Drafthouse. My good friend Stuff Scared Chris, who came out to Denver for a little bit here. You can go and follow him on TikTok, by the way. He is the only person on the internet talking about horror right now. But the 4 points we're going to be getting into tonight here with Queens of the Dead include that Tina Romero sets her own zombie apocalypse, that old school zombies are here for modern times, that we absolutely need to give Katie O'Brien a romantic comedy, and the relationships in Queen of the Dead are absolutely the strength of the film. So we're going to talk about that, break that down a little bit more for y'all here in my review. Of course, make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, no matter where you are tuning in to catch this review at. We got a lot of great content on the channel right now, a lot of really fun stuff coming up I'm going to tell you about here at the end of the show. But let's not waste any more time and jump right on into things. If you have not seen the trailer for Queens of the Dead yet, on a night of a huge party, a group of drag queens, club kids, and bar staff must put aside their personal differences when a zombie outbreak begins in Brooklyn. They'll have to slay and sashay their way through the night in order to make it to safety and put on the performance of a lifetime. And there it is, folks. That is Queens of the Dead. Now, again, I know that a lot of the interest in this film is just due to the fact that Tina Romero is the daughter of George A. Romero, and she's doing what her dad is very famous for, making a zombie movie. And hey, if that gets you into theaters to check this one out or to rent or purchase this one once it hits VOD, then all the more power to you. But it's important, as we are dealing with a legacy here who is setting out to make her own name and put out her own works, that we really do need to give her her own shot at succeeding regardless. For good or bad there, she's got to be able to sink or swim on her own, because that's an impossible feat, right? That's an impossible task to make your first film that's hitting theaters, and it's got to live up to this huge legacy that's there. So keep that in mind as we go through this. The other thing that's really important to point out here, which is really, really cool, is one of my friends, Jessica Dixon, who I've worked Denver Comic Con with in the past before it became Denver Fan Expo. She is actually a preacher out in New Jersey, and her church, which I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head there, I apologize for that, Jessica, but her church, Prospect Presbyterian Church out in New Jersey, was actually used as one of the filming locations here for Queens of the Dead, which I thought was so cool. Like seeing her post talking about them filming there and getting to meet Tina Romero and just getting to see a screening of it. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. Jessica is so cool, people. She's actually going to be featured on my Dogma review that I'll be dropping later on this week, as I asked her to contribute to that. So Jessica, very cool that your church got to be featured in this, in the opening scene, which is a really fun one, honestly. But let's talk a little bit about the story before we start expanding on those points. Now, this ragtag group includes Dre, the DJ, Sam or Samantse, the drag queen, Kelsey, their promoter, Nico, the go-go dancer, Barry, Dre's straight brother-in-law and handyman of the club, and Jimmy, the bartender, amongst others. Now, while prepping for this big party that's set to improve all of their social standing and hopefully help with a number of financial issues that a number of them are having, a zombie apocalypse break out. And Dre and her group begin to fortify the club as Dre's pregnant wife Lizzie and her patient Jane are traveling across the city in order to make their way to the club, safer to hole up in numbers. As their numbers do begin to dwindle though, Kelsey's wife Pop shows up with a shot at rescue if the group can make it to the docks. But in order to distract all of the zombies zeroing in on their party, it is up to Samonse to save the day with a Kesha performance for the ages. Now, story-wise, y'all, the thing is, when you watch a Romero zombie film, is that obviously there is going to be that nuance and that commentary in there, as George Romero is famous about talking about what's going on in the times as these films are coming out. And that's exactly something that Tina Romero is doing with this film as well too. But what I will say though, is that the focus that goes more onto these characters and the interactions that they are having, it ends up being far more entertaining than all the zombie stuff that comes with this as well too. And that's not always true for George A. Romero's films, as a lot of times that actually gets mixed around to where we're far more interested and concerned about all the zombie action as opposed to the interactions between the survivors that we're following along. So it's an interesting dichotomy here that we're seeing with Tina Romero's attempt, and honestly, I think that actually makes this a little bit more engaging for a modern crowd. Now, to our first point, Tina Romero sets her own zombie apocalypse. Whether she wants to or not, Tina Romero's toughest battle, I feel, is going to be with the hardcore George A. Romero enthusiast. When your father is the master of the zombie genre, it comes with some unfair expectations of living up to that mantle. And it's important to point out that for better or worse, this is her movie. Okay, this is not a George A. Romero zombie film. This is Tina Romero's project. Of course, there is zombie action in this. There's violence. It would be impossible for there to not be good social commentary and some nuance when we're talking about a very queer focused story. So you're gonna already get the two biggest staples of what you expect in a George A. Romero zombie movie. But if you go into this expecting for the exact same style of storytelling, the way that action is portrayed, or the way that we're addressing the social commentary of the way people are in today's day and age, you're not gonna get that, and you're setting yourself up for failure from the jump. This movie is very much going to allow Tina Romero to make her own voice and show that even if she is making a zombie movie, which is what her family is known for, she still has the ability to make her own zombie movie here. To my second point, old school zombies for modern times. You know, we are a bit spoiled these days with zombie media ever since the Dawn of the Dead remake, a remake of a George A. Romero film back in 2002. It always is 50-50 when a new zombie project comes out of whether we're going to be dealing with the classic, slow, stumbling zombies that Romero is famous for, or if we're going around with the modern running and jumping ones that a lot of movies tend to go with these days, or have been for the last 20 years plus. I do think there's a case for both, depending on the kind of project that you're doing. And obviously the success of a franchise like The Walking Dead very clearly shows that even in modern times, you do have the ability to make these old school stumbling slow zombies scary and entertaining. They don't always have to be the super fast one. And in modern times where everything is moving faster, if you can actually still make that effective, that is showing some real talent, to say the least. That said though, Tina Romero's focus here doesn't really seem to be on highlighting or sensationalizing the human on zombie on human violence that we typically are going to see in these movies. Therefore, it's likely a number of you are going to watch this and find it lacking in that particular aspect. That said though, there's some great scenes involving zombie rats, zombie babies, and zombie club kids that still manage to offer some thrills and also offer some fun send-ups of other classics that you're likely going to recognize. And it's funny that I mentioned the 2002 Dawn of the Dead and the fact there's a zombie baby in this, because the 2002 Dawn of the Dead is very famous for having a zombie baby in that as well. But you need to temper your expectations with that. If you walk into Queens of the Dead and you are looking for zombie violence and only the way that we have been seeing in these Romero films, you are gonna leave disappointed. Again, very, very different. This is the way that Tina Romero is doing these things here. So my third point, give Katie O'Brien a romantic comedy. I have seen enough at this point, y'all. Ant-Man, Love Lies Bleeding, Twisters, Mission Impossible, The Mandalorian, and even The Walking Dead. Katie O'Brien should absolutely be an action star, and I have no doubt over the next few decades, we are going to see her stock rise incredibly in the action genre. But here's the thing. She is so damn charming. She is hilarious, and she has great chemistry with anybody that she's paired up on screen. And we're talking folks like Kristen Stewart and Tom Cruise, who I enjoy as actors, but I think a lot of us can pretty much admit that sometimes those two do not have good chemistry with their on-screen counterparts. It comes off wood and it comes off weird, and Katie O'Brien had fantastic chemistry with both of them. And I am convinced that after seeing the storyline she has in here about playing this DJ who has a pregnant wife and is trying to navigate this relationship with also having this straight cis brother-in-law who just says anything that's on his mind, but he's also still very supportive as well too. Seeing this storyline and seeing this role, we need to give her starting duties in a romantic comedy, y'all, because she would kill at that. Put her opposite somebody like DeWanda Wise or Sophia Bush or like a Dev Patel or a Joe Keery, and I think that we would see some absolute magic there. Y'all need to make this happen, because the action stuff is going to come easy, and she does seem very open to still fucking around in the horror genre, but we need to see a romantic comedy out of Katie O'Brien, without question in this. My last point. The relationships are the strength here. This is definitely a modern story, and Romero really excels when the film chooses to focus on the connections between her characters here. Whether it's focusing on the drag queen who chooses to screw this group by accepting another party on the same exact night, whether it's a different drag queen who needs to find her confidence to get back on stage and mend these broken relationships that she's had, whether it's the DJ with the baby on the way or the straight handyman who's the brother-in-law to this DJ that's trying to navigate living in this queer space. When Romero is focused on all these different interactions and how people are trying to build these stronger relationships and fix these friendships and fix these problems that they have with each other while being brutally honest, this film just absolutely soars. And I would argue it has some of the best dialogue that we have seen all year, honestly. And that is saying a lot in this case here. It's impossible not to find a lot to enjoy about all these interactions. I do think that some of you will probably see that it's a bit much and it ends up being lopsided with more of these fun interactions we have with these characters versus the zombie action, and that's likely really, really fair, and it'll be reflected in my rating a little bit here. But if you're a mid-20s to mid-30s something, then there's more than a good chance that you are going to see some of your friend group and the characters that we're watching over the course here of Queens of the Dead. I had a lot of fun with this. I really, really, truly did. And it really genuinely felt like a film that it knows its limitations at that point. And I don't mean that to sound as negative as it probably does, but I feel that Tina Romero very much came into this and kind of thought to herself, like, look, folks are already going to judge me off the merits of my father here. I can only try so hard to make my own movie and just do the best of it of what I can. And for that, I really think that she did succeed in this case here. I don't think that, again, there's going to be a way to please every George A. Romero enthusiast that's out there, but that shouldn't be the goal with this as well, too. This is a wonderful, wonderful cast. Again, Katie O'Brien, Jaquel Spivey, Ricky Lindholm, Jack Haven, who I love. and I saw the TV Glow, Cheyenne Jackson, Margaret Cho, Tomas Matos. Like, this is a great cast, y'all. There's somebody in here for everybody that you're just gonna absolutely find yourself transfixed on, because everybody in this film is so damn funny. And there are some great surprises here again for Romero fans as well too. Ultimately, Queens of the Dead is gonna get 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. This is not going to be looked at as a zombie classic, most likely, but it's a pretty perfect image of club culture and the relationships in our queer spaces that always need more support, love, and allies. There are plenty of laughs to make your jaw hurt, and while the zombie violence isn't anything special, I do think it's enough to keep you tuned in. This is still playing in theaters right now. I imagine it's likely going to hit Shudder by the end of November, and if not, very early December. We should be seeing this before Christmas for sure out on Shudder. But if you got a chance, go check this one out. I want to hear from you in the comment section, your thoughts on it. Do you agree with the points I had to make here? What are your disagreements on it? Let's talk about Queens of the Dead here in the comment section. And in the meantime, make sure you get subscribing to my Linktree, as that is the best way to stay on top of all the horror content that I'm dropping for all of you. You can do that by going to linktr.ee/tscarymovie. If you get subscribed to my Linktree, that's going to give you access to my YouTube page, the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, my TikTok page for short horror content including reviews, premieres, and news, my Twitch page for horror gaming including Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. We got a lot of great content coming up for you here this week. On Monday, November 10th, I'm going to be dropping my review for Dogma. Dogma is finally getting a 4K release. It has had a few other runs in the last year back in theaters as well too, and I'm excited to discuss this one here with all of you. We are going to be talking the next episode 3 of Welcome to Derry. We're going to be talking the first 4 episodes of The Talamasca. We are also going to be talking Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. So we got a lot coming up for y'all this week that you do not want to miss out on at all. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Folks, I appreciate y'all tuning in as always, but that is it for me tonight. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.